Welcome to Brotaku Retrospective, the weekly show where we talk about a season of an anime, nerd out for good or bad, and try to get you on the train with us. This week we're wrapping up Rising of the Shield Hero with Season 3. I'm Eddie Friels.
I'm Clinton Tospa.
Go ahead and take it away, Clint.
All right, just walking out at season 2. We get our entourage, Naofumi, Raftalia, and Philo, all in. Oh, and I forget, we got Risha now a part of the gang as a staple group character now after season 2. So we get a scene where we are in a coliseum and our characters are masked. It kind of looked goofy to me the first time, like seeing that, like they were wearing masks. I'm like, this is like Team Rocket Trip right here. I know who you are.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that bit definitely got me for a second.
Yeah.
But I did super appreciate that they've gone 3 for 3 now with that opening cinematic just being like,
Right.
I'm
just-
ready to go.
Right. Like, here's a little taste, like, kind of thing, you know?
Right, because season 1, you've got Raffin now on the misty cliff, and it's just
Right.
like she's walking up to him, and he's like, let's go.
Right.
Season 2, you get like the quick view of the tortoise, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh.
What?
And then now season 3, we're just coming first, second out the gate. Our
like
guys are
Up
in
against some bandit guys in a coliseum, like a Roman coliseum type of thing going on.
and that was so cool. And so yeah, we start moving through, and we find out.
I think he's
Oh.
after of course, like the spirit, like our tortoise is obviously gone. We now face a new threat on the horizon of that being the Phoenix.
Yes,
So
we've gained with the passing of the spirit tortoise and the closing of the Otherworld arc. Our heroes are granted about a 3-month reprieve, according to the counters,
yeah,
until the next world boss comes, which is going to be the Phoenix, we find out.
and the waves are on standstill
Yes.
at this moment too, as well, I believe. Yeah.
So we come back from the opening theme of season 3, and it's Naofumi basically doing day-to-day life, royal duties, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we kind of get to see where his head's at. First thing, getting back from all the waves, taking care of his village. It's like, I got 3 months, I need to bolster my land.
Yeah, he's not like playing around. He's constantly trying to build, trying to find new ways, trying to speed up or expedite the process and whatever way he can, and making sure everybody stays on task too.
It is definitely the town builder's sim part of the game.
Definitely, and I mean he's kind of like the mother hen too.
Yeah, so he's watching over the village of demi-humans, and at this point, most of them are like kiddos, and that even comes up in conversation a little bit later, which I got a good giggle out of that
Yeah.
because I don't know, self-references in shows are always like, thank you, I appreciate you giving me that extra bit of
Yeah,
continuity.
where they're like self-aware, like yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. So,
But we'll touch back on that while it's
Yeah.
relevant. So he's getting things set up, and he gets a summon from the queen. And she's like, hey, I know this isn't your thing, but for the love of God, please go get the 3 Yahoos. No one's seen them since the
Spirit
incident.
Taurus says, yeah,
And now it's like finally starting to come into his role as like, all right, if I don't wrangle everything together, everybody's boned. He's definitely not to his liking taken on the I'm kind of the leader of this effort role.
right. And he kind of like every time he had to do that, and I've only think it's been a few times up to this point, honestly. So, he puts a little more effort into this, and I think this time goes around. I think he puts a little more effort into trying to convince, like, hey guys, we need to kind of prepare for the.
Definitely with the wrapping of Ost kind of teaching him like, yo, you don't got to be wrathful all the time to make things work.
Right.
You definitely start seeing that out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
in real time doing the simulcast, it felt like a very healthy character growth to come back to.
Yeah.
On the binge setting, it doesn't slap you in the face quite so instantly, but I think now that like I said that, your eyes
Yeah.
caught it instantly. You're like,
Yeah.
you're right, I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's not so prone to just because let's face it, these three heroes aren't like they still treat the world that they're in, you know, obviously like their own little playground. So every time he's approached prior to this, he's kind of always had a distaste for them right off the get go, and that kind of fueled the fire of him like going off like right off the get go. He's like, "All right, stop. We need like," but instead of doing that, he takes a more approach like, "Hey, man, like." I know things have been rough and for you and things. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. Our three heroes have actually their teams have either left, disbanded, or were, as we found out, their teams were by the Spirit Tortoise.
Yeah, come to find out, thanks to the Queen, that Ren's team only had one survivor, and that was Ren.
Mm-hmm.
So now Fumi ends up agreeing to the terms a lot more. He's a lot more with it this go.
Mm-hmm.
And so he asks for any kind of intel, and she's like, I don't know right now, but once I find anything out, I'll definitely let you know.
Right.
And before now goes back off to his lands,
Mm-hmm.
he asks one last thing about if the Queen knew anything about that world's vassal heroes. Because in this world, they're called the like 7-star heroes or something like that.
The 7-star ones.
It was kind of a hokey title. I was like, I guess if we're gonna get this multiversal, somebody's got to get the short end of the naming conventions. But
it's like we ran out of ideas. I'm sorry.
but they come to. There's 7 of them in Now's world, and he's like, do we know where any of them are? Because that would help a whole lot.
Right.
After seeing the vassal wielders in the other world, it's like, oh, not only do they have these 4 badasses, but he's useful, that person's useful.
Mm-hmm.
We need that. And the Queen's like, we only know about the staff hero.
Right.
And it's not said outright, but through useful cinematographics, we come to realize that old King Numbnuts is the staff hero.
Yep. The King of Melloremark was formerly a hero, a weapon wielder.
Now is understandably unimpressed.
Right. He's just like, are you kidding me? Like,
so getting all that set up, that ends up taking the whole tone for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. Basically, we can just sum this season up as rescue 3 heroes, bitches revenge. That could be the alternate title for this season.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so apparently like after going and through all that, yeah, we get kind of like some more background on those 3 heroes, which is pretty exciting too.
Yeah, we definitely are about to go on a journey where it's like, okay, I still am on Naofumi's side about how I feel about these 3 Yahoos. Maybe worse about Modiyasu. But, oh, so good. So now goes back to his lands, and in the interim, while he is trying to wait for intel on the 3 heroes, his other goal is he is trying to rescue out of slavery as many former villages of Luralona Village.
Yes.
And he gets wind through the slave trader that because of how much of a reputation he has developed up to this point, that slaves from his village have gone like super massive hike price. But he ends up giving our hero a lead that if he goes to the city of Zeltobel, that they had underground coliseums, and you could likely find useful things there.
Right. And I remember that the price hike was due to like the disdain for the shield hero because of his he brought the revolution of treating demi-humans a little bit better in Melremark. So they kind of changed they're slowly changing their stance on demi-humans. Like, I mean, it can be shown that a lot of people are higher up noble people
These
dislike
aren't
that.
just any slaves. These are slaves from a town that is just run by them.
Yeah.
Ooh, ah.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of underhanded in a way. I'm just like, but it kind of shows you the double-edged sword of being the hero slash vigilante. I mean, you always got causes, and some of them aren't always going to be great as the
Right.
outcome.
I mean, season 1, we go through that whole arc with the other 3 Yahoos where now it's like, your actions have consequences. And now it's like, God damn, my actions have consequences. But you don't even tell it in the moment because he takes it with so much grace. He's just like, all right, this is what I got to do next. Let's go.
Right. He doesn't just sit there and cries about it. He's like, all right, I got to find a way to make money fast, a lot of it quick. And so, yeah, that's when we get into like catching wind of like a underground gambling ring of where, they have people face off against each other.
And so now Raph, Philo,
And
Risha, I'll take a caravan and head that way.
It's a total. Yep.
Upon getting into town, they meet the slave trader's brother, uncle, somebody.
Uncle, yeah, one of the relatives.
One of
yeah.
the relatives.
They look all the same. We got a Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny thing going on now.
Yeah, apparently slave traders are copy paste in this world.
Yeah.
And so he meets, takes him to the arena, and now we're starting to see that opening cinematics. You're like, okay.
Yeah, so now Fumi, after he goes around and kind of like gets a feel for how the Coliseum is going to go down, he goes ahead and enters himself and the other two, which is only Raph and Philo, because Risha I think is still sitting on the sidelines, I believe.
Yeah, because the rules were you could do three-man,
Up to three,
you could do
yeah.
solos or 3-man squads.
So they did the original 3 for the fight. Okay, I wasn't freaking out. Like, I was like, did they have? But no, it was just those original 3, and they obviously can't go in as themselves per se because it would cause an uproar. Obviously, they would assume right away what his intentions were.
Go Team Rocket, go Team Rocket.
And so they wear these masquerade masks that just covered the eyes, I think.
Yeah, it's straight up tuxedo mask as
Yes, yeah, pretty much. And they give themselves like a team name, and it's something goofy.
Team Rock Valley.
I don't know. That was so random. I was like, where did that come from?
I think the thought process was like a relation to their village because like when you look at all the things, it's all hilly valley and it's like right on an ocean cliff too. So I think that's the reference, but it's so hard because they go so ham with the hokiness of it.
Yes.
Every time they called Naofumi Rocky, I was like, spit my milk. What the fuck?
At least so creative. They spend minimal time, of course, with their aliases, but it passed. It passed. I mean, the only thing
you've got a raccoon girl on your team, so that's what they play to their advantage. So they're like, Raftalia, you're going to use illusion magic and make everybody look like we're struggling.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, it's so hard. We just barely made it.
Yeah, so they would take, like, intentional, like, kind of beatings from the other teams for a minute.
So it seemed.
Yeah, and then they would whip up the illusion and make it go kind of like that, and then they're like, all right, full on. Let's get them. And then it'd just be like a one fail swoop, and then just done.
If we're taking this as like Naofumi's video game experience, this is a very satisfying like Coliseum minigame arc.
Exploitation.
Yeah.
Because he's betting on himself.
Yeah, it's like worse than the Tales of Symphonia
That's what Rhea was doing. She was
Yeah,
betting on. She was doing the betting. That's right. I forgot. That's what they needed her out there for. He's like, place the bets on her team every time.
Ever the shrewd businessman.
Ever the shrewd businessman. Yes, totally not an understatement. Though he's crazy with the economy and the money. I mean, going back to season 1,
That was his original power. He's like, I can take a hit and I can make money. This is what I got.
Yeah, I mean, like going back to season 1, he became a merchant and just kind of like, it was almost like a slice of life lifestyle. If you
If you
didn't
take
know
out all
about
the
that, he
dark
came
parts.
from, well, that and like you didn't know that he came from another world. You know, he was very successful as a merchant. I mean, he did act greedy a few times, but I mean, you know, he was just kind of playing into
Who
it.
really got hurt?
He just knew what people needed, and he was like, "Well, I got to make a living too." Like,
Yeah, I'm still reminded of when they do the spirit potion haggling. He's like, trip her.
yeah, that was so funny.
This one goes for 20 times the price
was
because
the-
it's the last one.
It was the most pettiest business practice I've ever seen. Like, I was just like, I wouldn't put it past him, honestly. Honestly, yeah, I can see that.
I don't know if now would pass the corporate ethics standards, but he's fun to watch.
Not on face value. I mean, he'd be great in a business, though. Like, honestly. But yeah, getting back to it, like they're rigging the fights, obviously, and then eventually people start catching on after a minute. And what ends up happening is that like he gets tidbits of it earlier on, but it doesn't really hit until like after the first few fights. Like they're starting to see like, oh, this is like an up and coming shooting star team. This is a team that's probably going to be reckoned with. So instead of fighting them outright in the Coliseum, they would cancel the fight or throw the fight on purpose and then jump the opposing team in the dark of night.
Yeah, up in the streets on the city level.
Yep.
Dirty rats.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in the background of all this, as Now's picking up on things, hanging out, watching other people fight, we are introduced to this character, Nadia, who, after a couple nights of drinking and watching fights with Now, ends up taking a walk on the surface after like one of their first really successful nights, and they had a lot of people bail out. And like Clint said, they'll cancel their position just to jump you at night, and that I'm not quite sure how it makes sense in me that you would make more money that way. That's about the only plot hole with that.
It was probably.
I mean,
These were noble, rich, powerful people that were coordinating this, so they were probably like, "I will pay you probably more, maybe,
Yeah,
to
I mean,
grease the palms a little bit."
from a prestige standpoint, I could get that a little bit better than like I'm still not understanding the profit of this, but I'm sure something will yell at me.
For them, it was just more personal, I think, because they were losing a lot of money after a while. So it's like,
So Now and Nadia get jumped by like a gang of 4 dudes, and Now is like, "Yep, saw this coming."
yeah,
But they end up in a situation where they're surrounded and both of them get attacked, and they end up like back to back. Now it's defending, and Nadia pulls out like a harpoon.
yeah, a trident almost looking thing. Yeah,
And he's like, "These aren't your dudes. I assumed you were the one jumping me." And she's like, not mine."
why would? How could you? Like,
And she is
expect
just like
me of people.
enamored with him, strictly on his ability to drink. She's like, "What? You can eat the fruit?"
Yeah,
He's like, "Yeah, I could have like 12 of these."
he's gets shield hero, high resistance. Duh. When you like, it kind of goes over your head a little bit. But then when like you really think about it, you're like, oh, he's got high resistances to everything. So
My poison resist is through the roof. Good luck.
right, exactly. That's why I'm like, he can like eat poison, like assassination attempt on him, and he can eat poison food. The person be like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" Yeah.
As a quick off-topic tangent, solo leveling has that same mechanic in it, and they show like episode 4 or 5. He tries to get drunk, and his little HUD pops up, and it's like, "You have consumed a poisonous chemical. Buff activating."
So he's like not even feeling anything.
Yeah, so he downs like a 6-pack just to see like if there's one. He's like, no, nothing happens. And then his sister like comes to his house, knocks on the door, and he opens it up, and she just sees all the alcohol cans. She's like, "You shouldn't be doing that." But yeah, so that one solo leveling, you get a very visual of that.
Awesome.
And Shield Hero, it's very passive, where it's like, okay, yeah, there's like 3 or 4 times where now is in like a weird town situation, and he gets a drinking opportunity, and everybody is always like,
Oh yeah, he's
Wow.
drinking everybody under the table every time. Because it always turns into some kind of drinking contest. So,
I mean, what else is there to do in a high fantasy world?
but to
at
challenge
nighttime?
the Shield Hero, but they, to their defense, they don't know about the buffs. They don't know about that stuff.
So
yeah.
Nadia and now take care, and we move on to another night, and we end up at the championship round of the Coliseum, and it is Team Rock Valley versus Nadia. Now is having to fight off against our newfound friend, foe, who knows, and
Start fighting face off. They don't even fake this one because Now's like, yeah, don't hold back. I've seen her fight.
and she's like, "You better not hold back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess you up."
Yeah, so right out the gate, like Philo and Raph are at her while Naofumi's trying to buff them.
Buff.
Doing his tank thing. But yeah, and like the fight gets more and more and more intense as it goes on, obviously, and then
She transforms.
I did not see that coming because she passed for a human for me. Like, kudos to the artist on that one because that was very subtle, like demi-human
Yeah, so
right there.
turns out Nadia's a demi-human.
She's an orca,
a
a whale.
freaking orca.
She's a big girl.
Out of, I gotta say, 10 out of 10 character design because I did not see it coming.
Right.
Like,
But after you see it, when
you
she transforms,
you
she
can't
has.
unsee it.
Yeah, no, yeah. I did not notice that her arms were black. I was like, that is so subtle.
Well, because when you first come across it, because I did the rewatch recently versus you doing the original watch, I put my eyes on that first off, and you don't think about it because it just looks like some high fantasy, like tight, flowy arm thing. Like it doesn't look like it until you pay attention to the hands and you notice it fades. There's not a cuff. It is so
subtle.
Oh, so good.
That was good art right there. Good animation too. I mean, they pulled it. That transition was flawless. Like, and yeah, once you saw the orca transformation, man, I was like, oh Lord, she coming with the vengeance now.
Yeah, that was a really fun fight scene. I've really enjoyed all of
The visuals.
Yeah, because they've done an excellent job of being very tank centered perspective. Like for any of the RPG fans, like I've had enough characters that were tanks that is like you know what you're looking for on the field, and I always feel like Shield Hero is presenting that accurately.
Yeah. He's always kind of like in the back. Always.
He's always in the back, and like everything feels like it's coming in and like down at you. Versus like he never seems like our characters have the high ground.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But yeah, so the fight. I'm not going to spoil too much of it. The fight goes on. Stops abruptly though because Raph during the fight, after seeing the transformation, she starts remembering her childhood. And apparently, Raph and Nadia are former acquaintances.
Come to find out, through our epic Talk No Jutsu Stop the Ultimate Attack nonsense,
Yes.
Miss Nadia is actually named Sedina, who was a friend of her Raftalia's parents.
Yes.
Basically, an older sister kind of figure.
Yeah, I think she was like a bodyguard
Yeah.
to the family.
And so our heroes play fight the rest of the way, make it look like now his team loses.
It's going back and forth, yeah.
Or wins. I got that backwards. I was thinking about the next phase already.
Right. No, you're fine. You're fine.
Then after that, we get some nonsense with the sponsors.
Yeah, the Nobles are clearly miffed at the result. Obviously, they lost a lot of money on that one.
But come to find out, the most popular merchant in that particular country has taken a fondness to Naofumi because they visit his department store the other day.
That was the trader from season 1, I believe, that set him off with the token to be a merchant. He's the first dude that's like, be a merchant, dude. Like, be rich.
If it's not, we're definitely dealing with another slave trader situation where we have a copy paste character.
Definitely, but I'm pretty dang sure.
I was gonna say that was a connection I didn't even remember thinking about. That's a good one.
Yeah, but yeah, clearly now he recognizes the shield hero and is like, "Hold up."
Yeah, we get a whole haggle. He's like, "You should let me set up shop in your town." No way, man. No way. You do this much. He's like, "I'll take that as a deal."
Yep.
So we come to find out that this particular Coliseum is that dude's Coliseum, and he's like, "Nah, we're gonna pay this dude everything he's owed and send him on his way." And also, Nadia was fighting to save slave children, and you're going to honor that too. So, yay, happy everybody wins.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, we wrap up the little Coliseum mini arc we start out with Naofumi making one last trip to the slavers' pens to find any remaining villagers from his village. And he stumbles across this white tiger kid.
Yeah, demi-human, yep.
And we had seen this kid already. He had played in a rigged fight earlier in the Coliseum, and Naofumi could tell, like...
He threw the fight so he can get something out of it, because Naofumi saw the exchange. He's like, I figured.
Yeah. And so he's like, all right, I'll take this one. And he's like, you got to take my sister, too. And so...
She's all the way in the back in the dark corner, like...
Yeah.
Mummified.
When Now looks at his HUD, she's got like 1 HP and it's like blinking. She's like verge of death, bandaged up, blind.
Yep.
And so Now ends up taking them both because he can make
Yggdrasil potions.
Yeah, he can make a potion that fixes her over a short period of time if you keep taking it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get all this wrapped up, head back to Luralona.
Mm-hmm.
Take Sedina, the new slaves, everybody with us. And there we start moving into the kind of meat and potatoes of the arc, where once we get back to home, we get a little bit of action there.
Yes.
We're going to have to circle back to Scissors here in a second.
Yeah.
But
I was about to say.
Yeah, I about messed that one up.
Whoops.
But anyway.
You're fine.
We wrap up the Coliseum and go back to town, and we get a little bit of a Civ Builder check-in kind of situation, what's going on in town.
Yes.
And then we start to move towards, the Queen found news about
Spear Hero.
But I almost forgot we were introduced to a second new friend foe this season. I'm going to let you talk about her a bit.
Yeah, so apparently back in the Coliseum, our team went up against a pretty tough opponent that was like kind of just like as soon as she showed up, she was out. But okay, so they faced off against this marionette looking
and she looks like a court jester with like a happy sad mask, a weird
clown.
hat. Yeah.
They call her the killer clown. And she was kind of tough. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, she had, like, the puppet master ability. So she had, like, strings, like, pulling people and restricting their movements. She tied Raftalia up, and she had a hard time cutting. Oh, she couldn't cut through it.
Yeah.
She was bound for a second until what happened? Somebody, I think it was either Naofumi. Yeah, it had to be Naofumi. Like caught her off guard, and then Raf had that moment where she got out of
Yeah,
the
where
bind.
like the tension reduced on the.
Yeah, so apparently they go back and forth, back and forth. Our team comes out on top. That was the thing. They weren't expecting that fight to be that hard. And
They only won through time.
yeah, exactly. And
That was one of
apparently
those,
the
like, if you survive for 30 seconds, you get a S rank kind of thing. 'Cause that's it. That ended up being why she left. She leaves a little snappy remark. She's like, "You can barely do 4 buffs. You're
Right.
not gonna make it. Like,
right,
this
like,
isn't
you
gonna
need to
work."
train, like clearly, and then like she just
Yeah,
vanishes.
she's like, "Time's up. I've done enough to get paid. Goodbye."
Yep. So after that fight and after the Coliseum, clearly, and they go back to Llorona, she pops up again out of nowhere when our
Breakfast.
breakfast, our shield heroes making breakfast for the kids. She shows up out of nowhere, like, "Who are you?" And then it's the cool. It's kind of like a charm because it's kind of like a weird like thing, but like when she talks, it's kind of unsettling to me, and I'm drawn to that. But as soon as you hear this girl talk, like you're like, wait a second, we heard that voice before. Yeah, Killer Clown followed Naofumi back to La Llorona Village, and wants to work with our shield hero to save, the world from the upcoming battle against the Phoenix. And apparently, our character's name isn't Killer Clown. It's
Sign is
Sign.
how I think they said it on the dub.
It's like Sign or Sane or something like that. One of the two.
S''YNE, something like
Yeah,
that.
spelt out all fancy and stuff. I thought that was cool too. But for a neat character, Sign or Sane, she's apparently a vassal weapon wielder, holder, whatever, from a dead world, apparently. So, as you may have known from season 2, vassal weapon holders are the only ones that can invade. So she's kind of had to been forced to world hop to another world because her world's dead. I'm kind of probably jumping a little bit on this one, but I want to say the reason why, like when she talks and it's hard to understand her because it breaks out like she's talking through a microphone. If I was to like pull the mic on and off a little bit, there's that crackle.
And I loved how they addressed it, both on the sub and the dub. Because I'll usually do my first watch through it with the simulcast as a sub, and then when I do my
So you get
rewatch,
your subs, yeah.
it did like so. I'll talk dub first, I guess, because I understood that one better. But when she's talking, like random syllables or parts of words, it'll do like a lo-fi radio filter, like distortion. You get like very high compressed,
like almost over the radio, but
Yeah.
it's almost going out of range type of thing. And that's a great example. Since her world's dead, she's out of range. And I want to say due to her world being gone, that's why her voice is crackling a little bit.
And that was what my thought with that was too. I was like, that's a really cool way to show that and give that character.
Did it do like that weird letter thing every time it did that?
Yeah, it would put like random asterisks in instead of like where the
Okay.
vowels are,
Okay,
which is why
okay.
I said it didn't like quite hit the same for me. But it was cool because they had like some annotation where like you did get the audio sensation, but they would display it on the subtitles as well. So that was cool.
Oh, okay, cool. I
But
was kind of wondering about that, but yeah, she's a vassal weapon holder of the scissors, man.
yeah, apparently she makes all of the heroes on this planet look like a chump. So
She really does. I mean, doesn't Naofumi get ambushed shortly after this exchange? I want to say by some randos.
Yeah, because he ends up kicking her out of the village. He's like, nah, I don't trust you.
Right, because
And
he's just
then-
like, no, you're trying like you talk crap, man. No.
Right. And then as soon, like literally the day after they get on the road, after they get the message where to go check out for Motoyasu,
Motoyasu. Yeah.
they get jumped by 2 people. And we have a freaking wild fight scene. Like, bro, tell me about that meteor.
Right, like that was the funniest thing ever. Because the other dude was like fighting like how like assassins would fight. Because what did he have? He had like
It
a
was
scythe
like-
or sickle or something.
Yeah, so the magic user had like a weird scythe and chain thing. And then you had like the other rogue who had like your traditional like normal short sword.
Yeah, and like so that guy had normal attacks, but our boy, the dude with the sickle, is like, I'm calling down the. Dude, if you watch Konosuba, that is totally almost an Megamine explosion moment. It's like, you got to announce that attack, bro. And so, like, now Fubi catches on to that in the fight, too. I forget about it.
Yeah,
Like, quickly attack him before he's done.
it's like your super like JRPG, like I summon meteor, and like it's
Literal, like, what was the
they
technique?
did like the zoom out and the fisheye lens so that it looked like really huge and really far away from our heroes, and our heroes are really fucking tiny.
Yeah, I think gravitational pull from Naruto via Madara doing it's like that. I was like, who are these dudes? And I mean, your guys are going to be like, who are these guys? Like, what is going on? It's so out of left field.
Yeah, it definitely, you're like, but
And
we find out.
have a struggle in that fight too, because apparently their powers don't work against these dudes.
Yeah, these dudes are like, y'all are a joke. And it's like, the scissor chick said we were a joke too. What the?
Yeah, what's going on? So, like we mentioned before, we had like the other world that we had in season 2. We're kind of getting snippets that there's more.
The
worlds
web
out.
is bigger than we know.
There's more weapon holders. I mean, I think the queen was even like, I have no idea. Like as far as like those vassal weapons go, like
Winging it, I'm just winging it.
she really is. She's like, dude, I don't know. Like, we're just gonna do our best.
We weren't supposed to have all 4 of you. Do you know how much hell I went through because Numbnut's staff man summoned all y'all?
Yep. Yeah, the poor decision making right there. But he was, as we found out, coerced into doing that. I want to say via the church.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's kind of like what started the momentum. Like, there's that kind of subterfuge thing, which, of course, Princess Malty, aka
Princess B.
yeah. So she was kind of part of that conspiracy too. She's, of course, by this point, she's a grand manipulator.
When you invest all of your points into speechcraft.
It could be a good thing or a bad thing. A good thing for you, maybe. But short term, long term, maybe not. You're gonna make a lot of enemies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we going neutral or chaotic on the evil scale for her?
Right.
She's only self-serving, so take that as you will.
Yeah, exactly. Really is. And we find out through season 3, of course. So yeah, back to our fight though. Like our guys are struggling, and
Now tanks the meteor. That was freaking amazing.
yeah, that was freaking awesome. Oh, one of the dudes that was dispelled the curse on Raftalia during that fight too. Like Naofumi's like,
Yeah,
where was that?
Because now Buff's his team getting ready to go into the fight like a good tank should.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as Philo and Raph start running out for the attack, homeboy on the other side of the field's like,
I see that
dispel
buff.
magic.
Boom.
But yeah, like Clint said, unbeknownst to him.
It got rid of the curse from season 2.
So now Raph's back up to full strength, and she shows off a little bit. And by the end of it all, our guys are just not coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Deus Ex Machina kind of vibe, our friend, the Sword Scissors chick, shows up and takes care of
Mops the
these
floor
two.
with these dudes, pretty much.
And once again, I was like, I don't trust you. You just showed up at the perfect time. Why are you
I
here?
mean, in his defense, he's been betrayed so many times.
Yep. Number one character trait. I distrust everybody instantly.
This is how I live. This is how I survive. Nothing personal.
And honestly, the only thing that saved Sign at this point is she was hungry and her stomach grumbled, and now Fumi takes care of children now.
He's like, guess you can eat.
Guess you earned it. Let's go.
Yeah, it saved my life.
And so at this point, we take her into town. She becomes part of the team. We learn a little more backstory.
Semi-humans warm up to her a lot too. So like clearly she's not so much of a bad guy that Naofumi is seeing her as. Like, but she's still kind of an unknown character though. Even like watching the duration of all of season 3, we don't still know that much about her.
You're the wild card. I need to keep my eye on you. And
Great
at
voice
this
acting
point, we kind of brushed over the attack on the village, but that's obviously not that big of a deal. It's fun, it's memorable, but the reason I bring that up is I don't know if it was the same for you, but this was like a almost running gag to me. How many times they blow up Naofumi's house this season?
When was the first time? It was back in season 2, or was it no? I can't remember when was the first time.
Well, they get him patched up, and then it's like they get the village attacked, and so it goes once there. I forget what they do, but it's some kind of explosion thing.
Yeah.
And then it ends up like they keep bringing it up, like this is gonna cost so much money, like nothing's
I keep forgetting
working.
that he has that gigantic hole. It's like no roof, no side of the house.
Yeah,
Perfect
after
ventilation.
like episode 2, it looks like a house that you just removed the middle section out of.
Yeah, I mean you have that wall here, and then like the middle part is just open floor theme.
Right, he's got a bed in there for Sign, and it's just like he put up like some sheet walls around it.
Yes. But yeah, I forgot about that. They got sacked by some slave traders from earlier, and that didn't work out. The village. Oh yeah, the twins came in clutch at that time. They did try to fight them off, but they remembered that Naofumi thought of this. He knew it was gonna happen.
He's like, "Hey, go get the flare," and yep,
Boom.
save the day. It was exciting. Moving on.
Yeah.
So things are wrapping up in the village. Everything's going well. We head off to go find Moriyasu.
Yes.
And so we go to the town he's in, and we find out that he is trying to find his teammates because then we get a nice little flashback to his experience,
with the spirit tortoise. That was a humbling moment for all 3 of those dudes. Like some worse than others, obviously. We'll get to that. But yeah, Moriyasu, of course, being him like overconfident self as usual, was like, oh, we got this. It just goes full on charges towards this gigantic tortoise, gets on top of its head, and just like throws down a lightning strike on it. Makes like maybe it's not even a foot crater. It had more width than anything,
Yeah,
and then it's
like a plate.
Instant regeneration over it. I'm just like. I was like, oh, that's gotta suck. And it does, because his team starts doubting him, obviously, and his abilities.
Yeah, because Moriyasu's running the harem team, and they're like, he can't do this. So they all jump ship. They're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
And
Toxic teamwork there.
yeah, because he's at this point running Princess B and then 2 other chicks.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Princess B was like, we've milked this cow for all it's worth.
I think that's how they find out where he's at, is through one of his former teammates. Like you said, like she's like, oh, yeah, that dude.
Yeah, oh my gosh. So now ends up finding him at his old teammate's place. And when him and the old teammate are talking. There's like a little flashback of the interaction or whatever. And the line she drops about Motoyasu where she's like, "You're not a hero, you're a vagrant. If you want me back, make something of yourself." I was dead at that point. I
Yeah,
was
'cause
like, "You're not wrong, but I would have never thought to put it that way."
Naofumi pulls his weight. He's a merchant on the side outside of being a hero. The other,
And he's a count now.
yeah,
Like
and
he's got a title and land.
the spear hero and the other two, as far as I'm aware, don't really contribute to.
Wandering from quest to quest, I just got to get all the quest points now.
Ungrateful. They're just taking advantage of it clearly. Still,
Yeah,
like
it's just a sheet and a MMO. It's like checked off that quest, checked off that quest. Zero regard for their companions who are like,
I get all the respect by default.
Mhm.
Yeah, that type
y'all
of
are
deal.
accessories.
So yeah, so she tells him off, drops that line on him, a reality check on him, and then this is where he kind of starts falling into a rut, like so to speak, like super depressed. Obviously, like it kind of shows it on this side of the coin, like he when he goes to the, I think it's the tavern afterwards. Does he go off to the tavern or something
Yeah,
afterwards?
'cause that's how it wraps up. He's like, "Tell me where all the taverns in town are," because Motoyasu runs away on their first encounter.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'll find him in the pub, whatever."
Right, and so they find what pub he's in, and apparently he's drinking himself into a bottom of the bottle type of deal. Or no?
No, because he walks into the pub and we have an unexpected showing of we run into Ren.
Oh yeah,
Mr.
the sword hero. That's right. And he was talking to Princess Malty. Yeah, you're
Yep.
right. And that's the spear hero sees her, and he's like, "Oh, I've been looking for you." Da 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 da. And this is where, yeah, okay. So flashback to season 1. Remember how our boy Naofumi got treated by the princess? Same exact way Motoyasu got treated in this instance. She's like, "I'm done with you. You're no good to me anymore. I got what I needed. Bye." And then she's obviously spinning lies into Ren's ear at simultaneously.
Right, she's going literally point for point the playbook.
From the beginning.
Yeah,
like how
it's
we
copy
saw her.
paste. She
Again.
plagiarized herself.
Yeah, essentially, like you would think. I guess the guillotine like display from season 2 wasn't enough for like that. Points to now for me because I probably would have uttered that. I'm like, the guillotine like display wasn't enough for you apparently. Like,
Yeah, and in the background this whole time, like there's like this unspoken subtext of like, hey, she doesn't have her slave crest anymore.
that's true. So she's using that to. I'm pretty sure she got it taken off via means. She's got an entourage she's rolling with. I'm
Yeah.
fairly certain. But yeah, so anyway, he gets dejected. That's when he falls into that rut. Thank you for correcting me.
Yep.
And so he's drinking himself into a corner, blah, 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 blah. Now Fumi's trying to be like, dude, like,
Yeah, Ren
Don't-
runs off with.
yeah, he tries to convince Ren, but Ren's not hearing it. And
He
he
was
can't believe
like so close, and then she entered the picture, and everything went the other way.
Yeah.
That was it.
instantly.
Put all your points in speechcraft. That is Princess B.
And so
It was painful that rewatching that scene. I was like,
over and over. Yeah,
like,
it
dude,
seems
you
to
just
be,
watched this chick give the same story about the other two dudes. Like, how are you gonna believe this twice?
but we find out why he was so vulnerable and so easily manipulated later on. But yeah, so he goes off. Shield Hero's like, whatever, I'll deal with that later. Motoyasu, come on, dude. We need to get it in gear. I need you to get trained. We got another, world boss coming our way in a matter of months. We don't have time for this. He's trying to not be Naofumi's past self. He's taking a different approach to this.
He's being stern but fair. He's like, I need you to step up,
Absolutely.
homie.
But all this time, though, like kind of like how our boy Naofumi was in the beginning, like he's kind of feeling like nobody likes him. Nobody likes me. Why does nobody like me? Blah 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 blah. He's got
love another girl again.
that too. But he's kind of feeling what Naofumi went through in season 1. So just desserts / karma at this one. That's the theme of this season. This is a karma buffet, actually. But yeah, he self-doubt really sinks low. And then it wasn't until
He woke up in a drunken stupor, and Philo is dancing and singing on the table.
Oh
in
yeah,
her
she does the
human
Pop
form.
Idol song. I don't know the name of the song. You're gonna have to find out that on your own. But
But it's fun, and it rolls into the credits, and Modiyasu sees the light, and then that becomes a thing. Let's just not spoil that bit for him. It's enjoy on your own.
it's not in my taste personally, but for what the character, you're not gonna like every character. Obviously, there's gonna be some things that you don't agree with some characters. That is the norm for them.
You could tell Modiyasu's supposed to be the funny thing, like the ha-ha moment, but
In this day and age, it's kind of like it plays a sensitive topic almost,
yeah.
in this day and age. So,
Not-
like Eddie said, we won't really get into that. But, anyways, he comes
So-
out of his rut.
We got one of 3 now.
Yeah.
Not the one we thought we were coming for, but cool.
We're there.
And so off camera, we have a now Fumi explains to him, like, hey, do XYZ things that we, the viewer, have no clue what was communicated. But he's like, if you do those things, you will grow significantly. Like, if you feel like you're behind me, incorporate this.
Right, tells him how to kind of utilize his weapons. Yeah, that's the thing that Shield Hero is trying to tell him. Like, he's like, you're using different, like, high-level weapons instead of your base, actual wielder weapon, and you can exploit the crap out of that thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was literally what Now did. He's just like, I wonder if my shield will
Like
eat this.
Does that
Shield
go
of
back,
mouse.
Does that go back to that one, like that talk of like back in all the way to season 1? Yeah, when they're talking about their 8 heads up display, where
Yeah,
like
'cause
if
now-
you believe it,
That was the only way he was able to get ahead because he couldn't fight. So he's like, okay, well, he talked about this, he talked about this, he talked about this, and as I think about it, it's working. And so yeah, he exploited the
makes
heck
it
out
make
of
sense.
It's
But,
all is like
yeah.
your will is reality. Here's your HUD.
Right. So he gives them tips on how to do that because they've never taken this word ever. They're like, Shield Hero, what do you know?
Right, you just got a shield.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so tells Motsuyasu to do that, and then
Shenanigans ensue, and we move on and head back to the village. No, yes. Okay, so yeah. So we do, and in the background is
Oh yeah, we see that
unkey events are going on, but we do get a still coming up during some of this transitionary elements of we see Ren by himself looking like he's doing some weird Batman cosplay. I don't have a better way to
Whenever
explain
I
that.
see Ren like act like that, I kind of like it. It's like he's just an edgier Kirito, like right now. And we'll get into why that makes sense later on, because yeah, we'll get multiverse thing. We'll get into that.
And so we come back to the village. We find out that in the absence, all the kids have been training, and like half the village kids are ready to do their class up.
Right.
And so we get a nice little fun slice of life where now Fumi takes all the kiddos to the Dragon Hourglass, and they get their power ups.
Yep. Each one, one made me laugh. It was like, I want to be a chef. It was like a chick or something. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that one too. And as I looked at her character heart, I think she was based on a cow because it looked like she had like the floppy ears and little tiny horns.
Yeah, so like obviously like a provider type of animal too. So yeah, definitely made sense. Now that you pointed that out, yes.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun. And so they go do all the kiddo class upgrades, and they come back, and Keel and the ones that took more offensive based things were like, I want to go test my new powers. Let's go hunt. And as Naofumi's sitting around, he gets word from Eclair that like, hey, there's some bandits around, like, and they're pretty close to us. So why don't we go hunt them?
Right.
And so he's like, sounds good. Let's take them.
Yep.
And so everybody goes on a quest in the woods, and we find the bandit leader is homeboy Ren cosplaying as Discount Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
I am the strongest. I am the greatest. I am Batman.
Yeah. So Ren's whole deal. We get a flashback of what happened to. This is where it gets dark. We get a flashback to his team, his old gang, facing off against the Spirit Tortoise. Now, it doesn't get too graphic, mind you. The tone's just dark. It goes from a quick them like they're going and attacking it. Next thing you know, his whole team is gone. He's looking around and his team's just massacred.
Yeah, and in this we start getting a little more flashbacks into Ren's backstory, where if we're pulling on multiversal strings and just pulling references from everywhere, Ren feels like he's out of sword art.
He
this
really
kid
does.
Didn't talk to anybody, just went home every day, put on his VR headset, sat there, la la la, I'm the greatest swordsman in the land.
Live in a world within a world because he didn't love his life at all.
Yep. And that's why he treated Melromark like such a game, because
That's
seemed
all he knew. Is
point for point the exact same as his VR game. So he's like, I know everything about this, and the World Tortoise you should be
Hence
able
he
to beat
claims.
with these things. So yeah, he's approaching it like he's running around with a Prima guide.
and it doesn't work like that. Like it doesn't. He even says like his team was leveled as high as they can get for that fight, and they just got wiped out like that. So yeah, he's goes through sort of like a mental breakdown because he can't come to terms that he is kind of responsible for his squad getting wiped out like that, because he's not thinking about it. And let's be honest, just like the spear hero falling suit, he's obviously not with the shield hero at this time. They're all kind of thinking they can do their own thing. Doesn't work out for him either. So, like,
And so at this point, we end up, it turns out that Motoyasu actually finds Ren first, because he's just out trying to hunt demons to protect.
yeah, he's like, hey, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because of unspoken reasons, he's trying to be as close as he can.
Mm-hmm.
And so it starts off where Motoyasu's like, I'm going to take care of him. I'm going to kill him, Naofumi. And Naofumi's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, we're not here to do that.
That's not why we're here. But during this point when all three of them are there and we're getting the flashbacks for Ren, our two favorite assassins pop back up.
Yes, the hero killers from another world.
There's not a lot of moments where I have anything good to say about Motoyasu, but that scene was fun.
Yeah, it was. He figured it. Like, they were all blown away at that fight. I remember that because they're like, "How? Like, what?" He's like, "I just did what you told me to." Now, or he calls him father.
Father.
I'm sorry. I won't say that again. It's just weird because of the age. Keep in mind, Motoyasu is the oldest in our hero group. Now Fumi's kind of somewhere in the middle. Ren's next, and then the bow user.
Yeah,
is
it's
the
the
youngest.
youngest. Yeah.
But yeah, so he figures out his weapon, I believe, at this point.
Yeah,
in
he
time.
basically one-shots the two assassins, and then that's that. Sign shows up, and she's like, "Huh, all right, not bad."
showing some progress. Yeah, so the team's starting to come together, obviously. And yeah, so after they face off, now they got to face Ren.
And that was not the top fight of the show.
No,
by
not really,
any
because
means.
it was kind of. I'm sorry if it is, but personally, I think it was kind of mid.
Is a very plot-intensive fight.
Yes, for the purpose that it needed to serve to like bring it full circle. All right, Ren, here's what you did wrong, dude.
And they do a good job of portraying his mental frame in the fight.
Yes,
Which
they do.
I think makes me feel better about that assessment. It's not designed to be a top tier fight, but it takes a
Right.
lot of screen time, so that kind of sucks.
Right. Right. Yeah, well, we're seeing development in real time, basically.
And so it ends up being Claire asks for a 1v1 with Ren, and
Yeah, so Claire is our kind of our commander of Lolorona Village, or kind of
Yeah.
overseer, I want to say. She works with Princess Melty. They kind of do their thing, run the town.
yeah, they handle like diplomacy, night training, that kind of thing.
But yeah, she wants to fight Ren in a 1v1 sword fight showdown type of deal.
And then, you get the classic anime, let's talk through our swords. I'm going to teach you the right way. What do you want after you have all the power to save the world? Da, 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 da.
Right. She shows Ren how false his view is on the world.
She gives him the motherly wake-up slap. She's like, we can figure it out together. Like, don't worry about it. But, like, come on, get your stuff together. Pick yourself up.
And it was during this fight we kind of see that the sword wielder Ren has a rage, or kind of like
He has a curse series.
Yeah, curse series for his sword weapon, but it's kind of like a 2-in-1 combo for him though, because he has, due to his personal strike, like himself, his two things are so we have a 7 deadly sins reference in this show too. His is greed and gluttony, because he wants it all, and
and I'm gonna consume whatever it takes to get there.
yeah, he kind of has that past him of himself was like, I will do whatever it takes to get there type of deal.
Right. We don't. Motoyasu is the only one we don't actually end up seeing a curse series from.
Right.
And I'm a little bit torn on my thought process for it, because part of me is like, he is such a himbo. Could he have something so strong that gets him like that? But if we're following the 7 deadly sins trope, there is no way that if we got wrath with Homeboy Naofumi, gluttony and greed with Ren, we do end up finding Itsuki's out, knocking out 4 out of 7, and just
So we have 3 left.
knowing Motoyasu's friggin' character. There's no way it's not lust.
Yeah.
It's got to be
It really
lust.
is. It really is. I want to say it's definitely lust, and maybe comboed with envy.
I don't know. Maybe on that one.
I'm just saying that because he was kind of jealous of Naofumi having a harem after he lost his. Maybe.
And
It's a jump. It's a jump. But
it's never stated. But
Yeah.
this is speculation on this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
But I'm wondering if the only reason that we didn't have a spear curse series is because the transformative moment that would have triggered
what's gonna
it.
happen.
Right, because right before he had the come to chicken Jesus moment,
Yeah,
he's laying on the floor mumbling, I'll never talk to another woman again. I'll never trust another girl. Like he's starting to go on this like crazy, incel rant, frankly.
Yeah, totally looking at the opposite sex and like a very skewed
Yeah, he's just like,
right. He basically bad taste in his mouth from the opposite sex, but it's kind of deserved in a way.
Right, he definitely had it coming, but he didn't get the opportunity to fester on it.
Yeah, he didn't
and
get that
I think
moment
there's
to
like
slip in there.
For the curse series to really take effect, it seems like you have to like ruminate on it. I don't know what the right terminology, but like you have to chew on it for a bit before it really takes in. 'Cause like now's Wrath Shield was like, you got flashes, boom, here we are. And then with Ren, we saw that like his first little flash was after Melty, not Melty, B.
Yeah, Malty.
Yeah. Messes him up, screws him over, and that's like when it starts and everything's feeling weird.
That's right, because I forgot, like, he ends up, like, because Naofumi's like, go back to your in room and see what I mean. And they get there, and of course his armor has been taken and stuff. His gear's been stolen. She's like, "Peace, I got what I needed," and basically just took all the funds.
Yep. So
So
anyway,
that's 2 heroes.
2 down. Now we get a nice side tangent where we're introduced to Rat, and I love Rat. She is such a great addition to the village.
I definitely kind of like I'm a little confused on her character because I'm like time frame wise, like I'm trying to make sense, but I keep forgetting she's a demi-human and they age differently, obviously.
Is she though? I didn't see any demi-human traits to her. Like
I thought she had fox ears.
I'm
something
gonna have
like
to
that.
go re-look because I just thought she was
I
an
thought she did.
because the queen sends her, and so because she got exiled from the other country for monster research.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They send that. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. She isn't. I'm getting confused with somebody else. You're right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to that point, though.
You're a step ahead of me, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyways, yeah, we get
get Rat. Queen sends somebody to Naofumi.
She
Who's
is
like,
cool.
she is quirky as heck. She is like your academic monster nerd.
the hero countries exiled her. They're like, no,
And it's like,
can't
you
that
can't do
here."
this here.
Just makes me wonder how dangerous her experiments can get and how that's going to play in the future for now.
I know,
because
because we already, within the same episode, we meet Rat. Like, 10 minutes later, you see the tree houses they planted and grew in like a day. Because now looks up on the hill and he looks at his like monster lab with all his riding caterpillars.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden a big old tree and a big thing. He's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I grew these. They're monster trees, and they're like perfect makeshift houses for anybody. No work, eco-friendly, and if you hate it, I'll just hit it with pesticide and we're done."
Yeah, she's like, if you don't like it, I'll get rid of it. And he's like, no, it's fine. It's
Go
fine.
ahead, keep
It's
those.
fine. Save
Because
me money.
the whole season they're just sitting there complaining about this. This is going to be so expensive to fix town.
Yeah, because that's Naofumi's main concern this whole season is like trying to get ready. It's costing so much money to fortify this village. Oh my god! Like that's his strife. But anyways, yeah, getting back to a rat. She has an interest in Philo too, being able to have her human-like adolescent form.
Mutant Philolio.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what she referred to her as. She's like, I don't come across those often. She's like, I only know of the queen, so.
Right. She's like, why would I not want to live in a village of demi-humans with a mutant Philolio? Let's go.
Right. She was all for it, and Naofumi's like, yeah, sure.
And so all her supplies come in, and within this crate is a dragon egg.
Yeah.
And so with this dragon egg, we're also introduced to another one of the villagers, Windia.
Windia, yep.
Man.
Windia's a demi-human.
And she's like fox puppy, something in that ballpark.
Something like that, yeah.
Something canine, we're good. But we start getting a little bit of backstory for her, and we get some.
She kind of has a interest like Rat does. Like
Yeah.
she likes, the critters, monsters. Basically, she has an affinity for them a little bit. So,
And so we get some fun stills of Naofumi carrying the big dragon egg on his back everywhere,
like a mom.
and everybody gives him grief for it. And he's like, "Shut up and get to work."
Yeah, he's got to carry it with him always because like a Rat was telling him, like, it needs body heat. You need to. I feel like that was a setup, but Anyways,
So we get some nice still life moments until one day, crack, crack, egg hatches, and we have a baby red dragon. And oh my gosh, the thing is adorable.
It is.
The first words now is like he's like, Philo is not going to be happy about this.
Definitely, because if you remember, like, Philos do not like dragons. Philolials and dragons are mortal enemies. It's funny, like, as this relationship goes on, kind of. We'll get into it. But yeah, the dragon is born.
I'll say, this story felt a lot longer to me than I expected it to be. Out of
Yeah.
all the like little sub chapters of season 3,
Yeah, it really
this
was.
this little thing felt like it had like the
Had
most
reason to.
substance.
Had reason to, because we're gonna tie this back to season 1.
Yep.
Okay, so we're learning more about Wendy, Wendia, and she wants to kind of be the person, because now for me it's like I can't really have a dragon around, like, you know, I can't really take care of it, watch over it, blah 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 blah. Wendia is the one to volunteer, like, I'll take care of it.
You named it. You got to take care of it.
Yeah, she, I forgot, is
Galleon.
Galleon, yeah, Galleon, like the gold galleon.
But it's spelled like the GAE.
Yeah,
like,
so it isn't the gold galleon that, I'm talking about, but that's what it reminded me of, because I'm like, dragon, gold, horde. Yeah.
Right.
What?
I didn't put that one together. I feel like an idiot for it.
I'm sorry. Hey, you got me on one too, so one for one. But yeah, so she wants to take care of raise this dragon. Some time passes to get more still life stuff, I believe. But
We get a nice little joke about Galleon being a watchdog, because apparently Atla, as she has been getting healthy, has this bad habit of in the middle of the night sneaking into Naofumi's room to fall asleep. And he is like, no, you can't be doing this.
I'm with Naofumi on that one too. I'm just like, I already went through this with Natalia. I have made it. He hasn't made it clear to her, but everybody who asked him about it, he's like, she's a daughter to me, type of deal. So clearly that's not as romantic as like Raph is thinking it is and everybody else is seeing it as. He's going back to season 1, he always sees the little version of her, and he will forever see that little version of her, because that's what he's used to. Like, and let's be honest, if
we're gonna be a love arc, it needs to be another 3 seasons out.
For real, we need to do some grinding.
So like I say, let's take care of the Phoenix. Let's make sure everybody else is up to speed. Get a new like crazy Super Saiyan power up arc. Let's go back to Larkin Thrace's world. Then we can address maybe something there.
Right, maybe.
We need a lot more time. Maybe. I'm in Now's camp though. Like, let's keep things respectful. Right.
We a squad. This was professional type of deal, yeah. But yeah, I totally forgot about like her doing that, the Tiger Twin doing that stuff, and it's funny how
because that innocent event is what sets off the crazy nightmare that follows up with it. Yes. But anyway, I steamrolled you. What were you going to say?
We need to touch back on something real quick, and then we'll get back into the timeline. She has a cool. First off, she fights like a monk almost, hand-to-hand combat.
She's like the Hinata of the village. Like, she's blind, she can't see, but she can do like the chi sensing, like Risha and the old lady can do.
And what's cool about her is that, like Naofumi points it out, I believe. I want to think he points it out because he looks at all of their stats. She has high defense stats in turn, just like our shield hero. And what's cool is, like, during the fight with the assassins, she was the one that was able to just, like, boom, pierce that dude's armor and break it, like, just with a single touch. Like, she was just like, strike.
Yeah.
And boom.
The Tigers are going to be a fun asset for sure.
Dude, I was blown away. I was just like, our heroes had so much trouble, and then she's just like, but we'll get back onto why that works later.
Why we're here, though, I have to go on a rant, though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Demi-humans. Their physical prowess, appearance changes based on the level. That did not apply at all this season for anybody.
Because we saw teenage Raph before we got adult Raph.
Right.
Or young adult Raph.
Keel gets to level 40, does a class upgrade, still looks like a kid. All the other kids still look like kids.
There's a little bit of an animation or slash story kind of loophole happening here, but yeah, right. I understand where you're coming from totally. I was like, what?
Tigers were level 40, reverted to 1, went back to 40. No change.
Yeah, while the other kids are level 30.
I guess Sedina probably makes sense because that was like a class reset thing they did to get the shield hero
Right.
buff.
Right, but she
But
was
either-
high level too, and
Yeah.
she didn't look like she aged a day.
Yeah. So I love when the lore is consistent, and the lore was not consistent with this
Yeah,
one.
I'm with you there. There's a little bit of inconsistencies. I hope they kind of
Yeah, I was gonna say
down the road with
season
something.
4, season 5. Like if we get to next wave, because we've had 3 months of prep time by the end of this season.
They will be level 60 by then, and they better be full grown.
Yeah, that exactly.
Yeah.
So,
anyways,
that's my rant.
yeah, no, you're totally understandable. Yes, I get what you're saying on that note for sure. But anyways, yeah, we learn about Windia. She wants to take care of this dragon, and through taking care of this dragon, I think Philo gets sick or comes down with something.
So what ends up happening? This is why the Atla going in the bedroom was relevant.
Yes.
So now Fumi's in his bedroom with Galleon, and the door's open, and there's like some conversation going on. Oh, Sedina's there.
Sedina.
And Galleon like flips over Now's like gem bag because being a dragon, he wants a sparkly.
Yeah.
And out rolls the Emperor Dragon
That
gem.
he got from the other world.
Yep.
Yep.
And Galleon, being a little dragon, is like, and
I'm going to eat this.
eats it. All hell breaks loose.
Yes, because the Emperor Dragon jewel is the conscious of
Yeah,
that
apparently the
Emperor
dragon core gems are what contain their like sentience and their consciousness.
And so that dragon, which is almost the reflection of their dragon from that world that got off, it's kind of like dragons are prideful. So there's a standoff happening, so to speak. So the gem in Philo's reacting to the Emperor Dragon being in proximity now, and it found a vassal to live in, just like the one in Philo is.
Yep. And so, and because Galleon's like a baby dragon, that is not a strong enough consciousness to override the Dragon Emperor. So yeah, he just instantly starts like leveling up
Growing
out of
up.
nowhere,
Yeah.
and Philo's stats are going down. They're
Yeah,
like
her
chained.
levels are dropping. Yeah, it's pretty steady.
And so Atla has a nice moment where we learn her chi control is so well that she can slow the flow of experience points
Yeah,
leaving.
the drain. Yeah.
Which, if that ain't some RPG mechanic nonsense, like that's one of those points where I'm like, I just
Again,
have to give it this
defensive
one.
stats, support character, rivals our boy Naofumi. They're gonna be the coolest dynamic duo ever.
Yeah,
So,
she has the better potential than what's the kid's name? The boy tiger.
oh, the tiger kid's name.
Yeah, the brother up front seemed like he was gonna be the BA, but she's gonna be the BA.
He's just the mother hen, older sibling. Like, oh, don't hurt yourself.
Be
type of
careful,
thing.
be careful.
Yeah. I hope he gets some kind of development season 4, season 5 as well. So, but yeah, she's trying to slow it down. Now Fumi and Sedina, everybody's trying to come up with the plan. Like, all right, we need to go after this dude and stop him.
Yeah, because the warping dragon has flown the coop, and so they kind of have the common sense that they're like, well, maybe they're gonna go. It flew north, so maybe it's gonna go to the same place where the dragon roosted before.
Yeah, so they go back to the village where Sword Hero did his goofy thing back in season 1 that caused a problem. But we learned that's well deserved, and I hate to say it, but it kind of played out. We'll get back to that because it kind of touched on it, and I think it was season 12. Yeah, but we'll get into that. But yeah, so they go back to the village where he fought the zombie dragon back in season 1. Where he got that jewel from the first time, figuring that dragon's heading towards there, obviously. So they go and try to fight the dragon, and Philo wants to join in because she's like, I'm okay enough. I want to fight the dragon. So they end up going to. She ends up going too.
So, I don't think. No, she's not in the original fight. I'll backpedal us a little bit.
Yeah, go.
So
Go back.
this ends up, in my opinion, being like in two phases is like the key cinematic fight for the season is this dragon fight coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So they get there and everybody is there. Like obviously Raftalia was going. Philo went to pull the carriage. We took Sedina for coral magic. We took Melty for coral magic. The Tiger twins could not be told no, and apparently Atla's got some ability that hits harder the higher their defense is. So it's like an anti-tank attack,
Yes.
which is
Right.
incredible.
It is pretty cool.
Um,
But he has
But yeah, they
them
take,
on
like-
backup, though,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
and they take
Sedina.
Ren. I think
Ren and
Motoyasu they had sent off, but they take Ren and Claire. There we go.
Ren and Claire were at the forefront of the attack, and then Sedina, Shield Hero, Raph, everybody else was kind of mid-size, and then the Tiger twins were reserves.
And so the fight starts moving along. Now Fumi's kind of figuring out the mechanics, and just as they start to get the lead on it,
Philo.
no,
Wendy
Windia jumps out. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That happens first.
She's like, "Not my daddy."
Yeah, they about to get him. And then this is where we learn about Windia's backstory. So apparently, Windia is a character that we've didn't get the graces of seeing in season 1, but this goes back to season 1. So the dragon that was slain by Ren was actually the caretaker of Wendia, and the reason why that happened, and I think Wendia was
She's orphan. Yeah,
Yeah.
all we see is her dad's injured, runs across this
Yeah,
dragon.
and he's like, "Can you take care of her?" And then he dies. He's like,
"Yep."
But after that, like the dragon's like, "Okay, fine," and tries to take care of it just as best as the dragon can. But
Which all of those flashbacks were, I loved them. They were
Yeah.
kind of comical at points too. Like I love when it's like baby potato mode, all wrapped up and swaddled, and it's just like sitting on his
on his
head.
head, like as he's walking through the forest, I'm just like, "How's that baby not moving?"
Right? Or like when he's
So
flying.
fixed to
I'm
his
like,
head. But the other funny part is when he's trying to feed the baby, he's like gives it fish at first, the raw fish, and then
and the fish are like as big as she is.
and then he brings her gems to eat. Just like a dragon, of course.
Yeah, I laughed pretty good at that one.
But yeah, so he was taking care of Wendia and raised her and taught her how to use magic too, because she's got a little bit of magic.
She can do like Sedina can with the coral magic and
Coral
stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
She has that potential anyways. Right now, she can use like the dragon vein magic and do like lower tier kind of stuff in that field.
Yeah, exactly. So we learned that after, I think she was off doing something. I can't remember where Wendia was at the time, but
Yeah, it doesn't say.
really touch on it. I wouldn't say she was off doing something. And while she was away, this is when Ren, the sword hero, and his old former entourage back in season 1 faced off against the dragon and killed it for the benefit of the village because
They wanted to steal its treasure.
So if you think about it, season 1, what happened to them? Yeah. But anyways, I'll get back to that. He ended up dying, and as he was dying, I think he lived to the point
Yeah,
where
he gets to.
Wendia was there, and he sends her off. I think at that point is like
Yeah, she gets taken by like slavers or something.
yeah.
at that point.
That's right.
And that's what caused him to become a zombie. Like his last
'cause
little
he was
bit of
trying
consciousness was
try
like
to save her. That's right. So yeah, so we learned that Wendia has a soft spot for dragons because of her father.
And so we have this kind of realization moment, and then it seems like Galleon, the dragon, with the Emperor Core is like kind of snapping back, and like
Out of consciousness, like fighting between the two, I think, yeah.
and like right as we think we're about to
Have a breakthrough,
yeah,
yeah.
have a win with it. Lo and behold, here comes an enraged Philo with
The dragon!
Melty,
Dragon!
and like the zombie dragon core inside of Philo is reacting with the Emperor dragon, and like they're looking like they're magnetically going towards each other. And Philo gets like one good kick or something, and he's
Yeah.
like, nah, smacks her. She turns back into like her human form,
And then gets
Gets
swallowed. Yeah.
and that transformation scene, that was
Ooh,
the scene
yeah, that
of
was
the
the big
season.
boss scene. That was the big boss fight of this season. Was the Emperor Dragon?
It was they did such a good job with it.
Now we got at least we know what the vassal heroes were facing on their side. Like, oh, okay, that guy was no joke.
Yeah, it definitely makes you realize, like, had we not won by timeout last time, we wouldn't have won. Because,
Exactly.
oh, buddy. So we end up not winning round one, unsurprisingly.
Right.
With
so
the
we
big
need
power.
we need to fall back and recoup. Yeah, that's right.
Because now tries to go old gold, and he's like, I'm going to wrath it.
Shield. And it drains.
Yeah, because of that core being in the shield so much, it was almost like a shade of the Emperor Dragon was in his shield. Like,
Yeah, the echo of it.
almost like the Millennium items from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, how
kind
they
of
will
vibe.
react in proximity. Yes.
And so,
he ends up using that, and then like it gets sucked out. Now Fumi has a realization. He's like, "Crap, I can't use this weapon now." Like, dang it,
And-
not options.
it ends up being a really cool scene, too, because you see the influence that the Emperor Dragon has over the Wrath Shield, which is a whole other can of worms that...
Yeah, it acts as a catalyst.
Yeah, and it's almost more loose ends. Like I have many thoughts, but another time
We
for
don't
that.
know much about the Emperor Dragon aside from it's from another world, and it was a pretty tough fight.
And
That's
so when Now pulls out that Wrath Shield, we have that scene where it's like, oh no, I'm not gonna let you fail, actually. And then you get the scene where it's like,
Oh,
level
yeah,
up,
pulls
level up,
his,
level up, level up, level up.
No, it was asking like, do you want to curse series? And he's like trying to click no every time, and it's like pulling his cursor over to yes every single time.
And if you look up at the top, there's a number, and the number grows. It starts at like Wrath Shield +5,
Yes,
and every time
yeah.
he does the click, it's like 6, 7, 8. It finally stops
Yeah.
at +10. So the Emperor Dragon's influence, he is like, I'm gonna just max this out because apparently he gets benefit from that.
Yes.
So that was an interesting thing, even though like the underlying story of this whole season with Now is the accept life without being wrathful about it.
Right, because of us teaching them that.
Right.
Yeah.
But then at the same token, they're like, we're also just going to max this out. So if you do pull out wrath, so I'm interested with how much of a double-edged sword that is.
Yeah, that's gonna suck because last he used it was against the priest and back in season 1,
and it backfires.
Yeah, he was bleeding everywhere.
'Cause he
flashback to Berserk and when he was using the armor and it kills him / keeps him alive. Like
Yeah, 'cause that was how Raph gets cursed season. What's the deal with Raph always getting cursed? That's how she gets cursed season 1 is him going off the handle with the Wrath Shield.
That's right.
Yep. So, but yeah, I thought that was a neat thing. So the next time that makes an appearance, I feel like it's going to be a
dilemma on its own.
Yeah, they're going to have to save it for a
I feel
very
like
key
something's gonna
moment.
pop out of his shield, dude. Something's gonna pop out.
Okay.
I'm thinking something's living in it at this point. Well, that goes especially for all curse series. But now Fumi's got buffed like in one day. So if he pops it out, that's gonna suck because it's already level 10. He's dealing with that level 1 still.
I think going into it, he had. I don't know where we start. The first time we noticed the screen, it's on +5.
Right. Yeah. So if he ever good call. Yeah. If he ever uses that again, then knowing the backfire from season 1, it's not going to end well. So that'll become a
It's going to
dilemma
be
probably.
a major plot point for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah,
So anyway, we
So,
fail
yeah,
wave
we're-
1. Wrathshield gets buffed all the way to max.
yeah, we're
and
figuring out a different game plan this time, and I believe that since Naofumi knows that the Wrath Shield is essentially bait for this dragon because it's a magnet, like you said. He's got a plan, use himself as bait, and pretty much just ambush the dragon out in the open, basically, with a multifaceted attack of some kind. Because I believe Sedina, Ren are at the forefront, so they kind of use the same kind of scheme, but in a different fashion.
high
I believe.
intensity, low damage.
Yes.
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 It's a very showy, very satisfying thing. But our peeps don't do anything unless Atla's there. She's the one who ends up getting like the hit.
Yeah, it's because Wendio tells them of her father's weak point, which is also prevalent on the Emperor Dragon. It's she's like, oh, there's a weak
scale
point.
that goes the wrong way.
Yeah.
Hit that.
Yeah, and that's where our shield hero's like, you're one that can pierce stuff, so you're gonna hit him right there.
Yeah, her little Kamehameha thing was pretty rad. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty cool.
I
also like the combo of Sedina, Melty.
Yeah, the caster
Raph.
combo was good.
Raph, they taught Raph how to use this the magic, didn't they? Or what? No, was it Raph? No, she was still the sword fighter. So it was Melty, Sedina, and who's the other caster? I can't remember who the other caster was.
Oh, Risha.
Risha was the other caster.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hadn't.
Yeah, because
wasn't
we
sure.
had Ren and Eclair for frontliners.
Duh. Yeah, you're right. So it was Risha, and she also has magic capabilities.
Yeah,
That's right.
Surprisingly, Melty was the weak link in that trio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had self-doubts, and she wasn't leveled up. Like, she was always dealing with diplomatic stuff that she's never been on adventures, hardly. So.
But it's... No, it's right after this. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I've about messed everything up. But yeah, so, as I say, very showy, very flashy, and in the end, little tiger girl gets the win.
Yeah. So they take the dragon out. Wendia says her final goodbyes to her father dragon, and the emperor dragon begrudgingly goes back into Naofumi's shield, I believe. Yeah, because he's like, no matter what you do.
A little bit. But they do. We think we got him. Raftalia does like a spirit slash and renders him at the soul level.
That's right.
At the very end, you get like just the last couple of remnants going back into the shield.
And he's like, wrath will forever live within your heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's his sin. So that's forever. That's why I'm thinking maybe something's going to jump out of his shield when he next uses that damn thing. So we'll wait on that. But so I think after this, rebuilding, obviously, because the town got
We get Baby Galleon back. We get Philo back.
Yeah.
Baby Galleon was a pretty fun one because when everything was said and done, turns out that Papa Galleon's spirit ended up being
reincarnated.
Yeah, he basically got reincarnated. He's like, well, I don't tell her. Like, she's getting over me, so, like, let her heal. But
yeah, let's let her move on.
And you get a nice, like, father and father moment between
the two guys. Yeah,
so that was kind of. I was like, all right, weird, but I'm here for it.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because I remember they were drinking at night. I want to say, and I think it was.
And Philo's level 40 at this after all said and done. So Philo took a massive.
Give me my levels back.
And Galleon's like, nuh-uh. So, yeah, that'll be a fun in the background rivalry all the time going forward.
Yeah, and, from that, Philo, I think after the fight, Philo and, because now Fumi's like, telling everybody what they need to do and everything, how to move forward and everything.
Philo, you need to go get your levels back.
That's right, because we're getting ready to find our last hero. So
that was what I was thinking, because after that, on top of just the didn't quite perform as hot, they send Philo and Melty out
Melty
on
out.
a training mission.
Yeah,
She's
'cause
like,
he's
I
like-
don't want to go on a training mission. And
And
Philo's like,
Naofumi's
come
like-
on, let's go.
Yeah, now Fumi's like, you need to get your levels up. I'm sorry, the fights are going to be harder from out here. And then Philo's like, I'm all for it. So that way there isn't that battle going on in their village and possibly more damage that they have to spend money to repair. Can't afford it. So that leaves him with the dragon now as kind of a companion. So
And Wendy is still taking care of it. It's like just another remnant of the village. And
Yeah.
when we get to another wave, I'm sure it'll probably make an appearance. I don't imagine we're going to see a lot of Galleon for the Phoenix.
probably not.
I don't know. Maybe a
Maybe.
key moment. Something
could be.
small role.
But yeah, so
Because he doesn't end up, like, by the end of it, the size we are presented of Galleon, by the point this all resolves, he's not really a whole lot bigger head to toe than Philo is in her bird form.
yeah, maybe not. He's
Like,
a little more.
It
bigger
looks like
for,
Ash riding Charizard.
Yeah, one seater type of per. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, then I think we get into. Oh yeah, we gotta find our last hero. We gotta sell that score. So, now Fumi, of course, trying to get info. They find out that who
I think it's a slave trader gives them a tip.
Somebody
They're like,
tips him off that some dude uses an archer's been making some waves at the Coliseum or at the town, and I think he was telling the Tiger
Zeltobo.
Twin. Yeah, he was telling the Tiger Twin like, hey, we can probably train at the Coliseum over there. Just kind of.
Yeah, we'll do the safe above ground ones. Let y'all have some experience fighting mercenaries instead of just the village old lady.
And when they go to the Zeltobel, that's when they overhear about Bow Hero being there. And and then of course Ratio being Ratio, she still has something to settle with Itsuki. So she wants to find out where he's at. Slave Trader's like, my show. Like, go ahead, backstage fast. Let's go.
Slave traders love Naofumi's party.
Yeah, so they take him to Itsuki, and dude's a jerk. Straight up. Like,
I gotta win money so I can free the slaves because I am the one beacon of justice.
I'm the White Knight. Is essentially what this dude is.
Generic cookie cutter hero. I will save all the slaves. I will get all the money, fight all the Coliseum. Thank you. Beep, boop, boop, boop.
Basically. And Risha is trying to, convince him otherwise. And
Bro, I wanted to smack him so hard during that.
when he pushed her aside,
Bro.
I was like, now Fubi better check this fool.
I was like, that was one of the few times I'll see. Like, there were
And he's
tons of
so
moments that
small,
like got
too.
me
I
to the
decked
edge of my
that.
seat. But yeah, that moment, I was like, I leaned a little extra forward while I was sitting watching. I was like,
That was uncalled for.
excuse you. But she gets it back.
Yeah, so obviously, like, Ratio, or, now Fumi's like, gotta convince this dude, like, he's on this other side. Oh, yeah, that's when we learned that
He's working with Princess B.
Malty. Yeah, he's getting manipulated by Malty to think that he's doing the Lord's work, essentially. Like, all his money is going to, saving the village. It's not. By this point, you should already know. Drinking that Kool-Aid. But yeah, so he's getting manipulated by Prince. And, oh, yeah, this is what I kind of foreshadowed earlier on when we were messaging. She's got a really good ability to do that. That's really eerie to me, how she can manipulate people time and time again.
Yeah.
And, like I mentioned before, the guillotine moment didn't... There's something more to her.
Yeah, there's something...
There's something more to Princess Malty.
buff
Like,
in regards
she is her
her
role.
namesake. Yep, she is her namesake, but
She's a little more powerful than we get to see, I want to say. Like, the way she can manipulate people like that.
she has caused a lot of damage without doing anything aside from using words and guile.
I think that's a pretty high-level threat, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, well,
I feel like that's going to be something bigger later on. But anyways, getting back to it. So, obviously, now Fumi's trying to convince him. That doesn't work. Malty steps in. And now Ratio pipes up and is like, I want to fight him. And then the slave owner's like, I'll set it up.
Yep.
Let's do it.
We'll hook you up. I'll make money. Don't worry about it. Like,
Exactly. He's like, I'll make money from this. Heck yeah.
and I love every time there's an interaction with like the merchants or the slave trader, and now Fumi's like, all right, but I want you to be honest. You're really doing this because of this reason. And they're always like, well, of course I am. I love how you see through my intentions.
You know how it's funny how they found out who he was through the stadium because they had to go by
Because of
alias
his alias.
name.
Oh my god.
You thought the Rocky Valley was bad.
Yeah, Rocky Valley was a 10 out of 10 compared
But
to
this
Homeboy Edgelord. Oh my god.
Oh my god. So we're gonna learn about Itsuki's background because of this, but yeah. They learned that, this archer user, he's known by a perfect hidden justice. They're like, that is like the worst dumb name ever.
Yeah, all three of the heroes, upon finding out about this, are like, bruh, there's no way it's not him. That's some
Guilty.
MMO name nonsense. Perfect hidden justice. Oh.
Take me back to my Xbox 360 days, bro. Like, for real. But yeah, I forgot about they find that out. Like, that's why it was so easy.
I was dying at that reaction.
I was too, because I'd be cringing too if that was my boy's screen name. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be associated with that.
Takes me back.
So yeah, anyways, so Raisha gets to do a one-on-one face-off with our bow hero that's acting like a big D-bag. And
for all his history of going, oh, you're such a weakling. You can't be in my party. You're just here to clean the laundry and cook
we
the
get a
food.
flashback to his personal life once, Raisha and him face off, and come to find out, go ahead and tie this into another multiverse.
Multiverse number 2.
This is like Marvel.
Yeah. So apparently Itsuki is coming from a My Hero type world where everybody in his world has superpowers.
Classes. So they mention, we're Class A, we're top of the line.
We have the best powers.
Class B peons, get out of our way. As we know, if you've watched My Hero, Class A is top. Like, these are going to be the next heroes to kind of oversee things. And Class B isn't too bad either, but, our boy Itsuki here.
He's brought up his whole life thinking, like, his parents are very tight apron strings, like, oh, you're the best, everything's great, like, the world is your burrito. And he finally gets to his, like, middle school placement test or whatever. Come to find out he's like a bottom of the bottom kind of hero in his world. And so he gets the super shell shock of, like, I thought I was hot
special.
shit, and
I thought I was special. I thought
nothing.
I was the exclusive. And so...
And it really helps you kind of, aside from just the fact I was blown away at that fact, I'm like, cool, we got SAO and we got MHA. Love it.
I gotta know what Spear Hero is, man. I really do.
Yeah.
I
we
don't
could also
know what
just
that is, but I want to know now.
never give any more screen time to him except for during the boss fights. I'd be good with that.
When he's around certain people, maybe. But, like, to learn his backstory, I want to at least know where he came from. Like, if there's another tip.
Why are you the way you are? I need to know. I don't want to know, but I need to know. Why are you the way you are?
Bro, it's probably going to be a high school DX. I'm done.
Is it wrong to pick up girls in the dungeon?
Yeah, for real. Very misogynistic universe here. But yeah, so we get into the fight. We learn about his back history, obviously built up to only fall from that height. Hits rock bottom. That's where Maltese manipulating him. And then we start
You're the best. You're the greatest. She's acting like his mom.
We start to see his curse series kind of somewhat come out a little bit through manipulation via Malti, because she gave him like a
weird pendant thing. He gets some accessory that he puts on his bow. It kind of looks like a half black, half white rose.
And that's another thing. Like, why did she do that?
Yeah.
Why did she do that? Why is she doing these things?
Well, and Ren's the anomaly too, because
Mhm.
he's the only one that had to have, or not Ren, Itsuki. He's the only one that had an accessory to trigger that.
Right, because he's
I
White
mean,
Knight boy.
right? 'Cause I mean, I guess technically,
Virtuous, very virtuous.
Ren had the
Blindly.
mask thing, but I think that was more like a psychosis trigger. Like I look in the mirror and I don't see
I
me.
don't like what I see,
Yeah.
so I'm going to cover it. And this is what it is. This is what's inside me coming out. Dramatic. Yeah.
Edgy.
Edgy. Yeah. Edgy / dramatic. Yeah. But yeah, so he gets that, and then we start seeing him go through his curse. But looks like that fight's going to go his way. But Horatio ain't having that. Nope. She came too far.
Right. We all remember how she went toe to toe with Kyo using gravity magic, and she's like, "Nah, man, I'm just gonna will my body over there." And
To control my ki to help move my body forward, like through that gravity magic. That was so cool. Hell yeah. That was like to me it was like Vegeta in the gravitational chamber type of moment, like where he's like fighting like yeah. Pretty awesome moment. But this moment almost rivals that, if not surpasses it, because this comes full circle for her. This is like the whole redemption.
this is her whole arc. Is she's like, "I want him to acknowledge me." That's her whole thing.
So-
we forget that at times a little bit because she's become like, she's been with us since season 1. She almost
And she
feels
only
like
gets
a-
those moments where she gets to truly shine, which is back in season 2, obviously, against Kyo.
But she felt like a really integral part. Like we grew her. She is part of the bench.
Yes. Yeah, she was the bench warmer for the longest time. And then, of course, Nafumi picked her up. It's like, let's go. Let's go. And so during the fight, does look like Enricia is just, blop, nope, blop, nope.
Yeah, you
Like
get-
just basically telling him like, I know this isn't you.
It's the Hanada versus what's
Neji?
Neji. Yeah, it's the Hanada v Neji fight.
Yeah,
but
the Hugo battle. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly what this moment is, where she's like, "Nope, I got the power." Only she wins at the end. Neji doesn't win. She comes out on top.
Yeah.
She's like, "You can't do anything to me. You don't have your focus."
No, what does it? My favorite part was when his weapon, like once she shatters the
accessory thing.
yeah, takes it off. His bow's like, dude, no, you're acting like a total psycho.
I
I'm
forgot
done.
about that. Yeah, because it's like, you're not gonna shoot her. Come on, I want to shoot her. No.
And it literally pulls the light, like hit the freaking thing out of his hands, like from his hands, and goes to hers. And this is where it kind of tips off to another thing that's going to be in the future. It's a boomerang, but it's see-through. And I think we learn later on in that series, the queen says it's a translucent weapon, but she doesn't know any much aside from that. She just has her theory of what it is. So we see a new type of weapon. So there's a new weapon holder series outside of the 7 stars, the vassals, and our cardinal weapons. We got the translucent ones now, which is pretty cool. Hers is a boomerang, and she's just like, bow. Zonked out, Ixki's down. Yeah, so that fight went like that, and it was so amazing. You got to watch it.
Yeah, she definitely puts him in his
feels
place.
on top of pretty good visuals, too, I will say, because of how, like, the curse series is transforming his body, the armor and stuff. Remember, he had the angel wings at first. And
Yeah,
then
that
they
was-
turned demonic. The
yeah.
change of heart thing happening right there. I was like, yes, the embodiment of your own worst enemy.
And after all is said and done, Risha gets through to him because she just whoops him too hard that he's got to fucking listen finally.
Yeah.
And that's 3. We finally got them all.
Yep.
And do Risha and Itsuki go off on their own, or do they take everybody back to Laurel?
They go back to Spear Hero's off somewhere, though.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
He needs to stay within a 300 feet. You're going to understand what that means. But
You need to stay in a 30-mile radius away from the village.
that's a joke right there. That is a joke I can make on that series. Yeah, we have a joke that's... But anyways, yeah, Risha and
They go
Itsuki
back to
go
the.
back to the village with Ren and all them, but
That's right.
he's
So
having a
Rishia
crisis.
does for Itsuki what Eclair's doing for Ren. They're
Right.
basically going like, "I'm gonna build you back up. You're not as garbage as you think you are, but like, this world is real and you're a part of it. I need you to quit thinking like you're
Right.
separate from
Right,
this."
right. So he's going through that shock though because of how the bow reacted to him. He's in like he's like the bow really didn't want me to use it at that point in time. I don't know if I should honestly use it. So we kind of have to see like there's some development of it, you know, Risha's trying to break through to him like, hey, it's not the end of the world here. You're yeah, so what? You weren't as strong as you thought you were. You had good intentions. Oh, and on top of finding out, like, of course, he got sniped by Malty too. All
Yep.
your money wasn't going to save the children.
Yeah, Malty and his ex teammates take all the money he got and just skip town with it.
And leaving a letter like, yeah, I used you.
So
Tough.
across the whole season, Malty has gotten money out of the other three remaining heroes. So she has a nice war chest she is sitting on. If we are not working on the assumption, she just drinks it all away.
Yeah. So after that, we go through a series of kind of like slice of life type of things. Oh, that's right. Blacksmith now works in Naofumi's town at the end of this, and he was making working on Raftalia's armor from the other world that they came from. And he finally finished it, and Naofumi's like, yeah, try it on. And then, like, she tries it on. Everybody loves it. Sedina sees it and freaks out because that is Raftalia, a girl, is apparently is royalty, and her wearing her priestess type of
Then her like traditional Japanese priestess
yeah.
kimono kind of vibe.
is a sign that she wants the throne to
The kingdom. And that's our cliffhanger ending for season 3 is I'm pretty sure an arrow flying and hitting.
There's also some other cool stuff that happened in that. So outside of that, remember the assassins came shortly after, or assassins showed up shortly after from that country that's afraid of her taking the throne. Because they've been watching her since day one, and Sedina's like, yeah, they've been watching you guys from day one, and Shield Hero's like, are you kidding me? So this whole time, like while we were like all this stuff was transpiring, like you guys were watching us this whole time, and that's what ticked him off. It wasn't the fact that he was expecting them to step in or do anything like that. They knew that she had no desire to take that throne, never shown it, never talked about it. Naofumi didn't know. Raftalia didn't even mention it. They just wanted to kill her just to kill her, just to not have that possibility. And Sedina's like, yeah, unfortunately, that is the truth. Like, that's how cold these people are and how crazy they are. But they had a hard time fighting them off. Our heroes had no effect on them. But our level 30, level 40 kids could bash them to next Tuesday. So there's a reason for that. Our blacksmith picks up one of their weapons and he's like, hey, I know what this is, but doesn't get to elaborate on that. So there's a mineral out there that repels cardinal weapons of some kind.
Ooh. So, yeah. I think, and that about wraps us.
I think so, like, because I think that was all that they gave us. There was a lot, like, that was fed in the end, if I remember right. And, dude, it's setting up to go, like, so many directions right now. Because
we have a lot of loose ends at the
Naofumi
moment.
was like, while the Phoenix is a threat, I need to go take care of this because they're just going to kill her now. And I'm not standing for it. And so he heads with his entourage, and he's basically going to go talk to the Empress. We find out it's a chick. To convince her, hey, stop doing this, or war it is. Naofumi ain't playing anymore, guys. Like, he's straight to the punchline on this one. He's like,
This
No,
is the
they
one line you can't cross.
well, they
She has
crossed
to
it.
be alive, and you fuck that up. So this is your one chance to make
They
this
broke
right.
it. If I remember correctly, they broke it down like kind of like the Sun Tzu Art of War, like type of diplomacy, and they crossed the line already. They've already played their hand, and now Fumi's like, I'll give him one more chance, because I'm a nice guy. But if they don't take that chance, war it is.
Turtle cannon.
Yeah, so, and that's where it ends, but we also see Princess Malti taking a boat. And if I remember correctly, there's the thing about this country that Naofumi's got to head to is isolated. And you can only get there by boat from Siltveld.
Yep.
And we see Princess Bia taking a boat. That's why she needed the money. She's playing into somebody's hands in that country, and I think somebody in that country has got some ulterior motives outside of just offing Raftalia. So that's where we end it right there on season 3. That's all we get for now.
if I'm gonna make a quick guess for season 4, if we're gonna go with a 12-episode format again, I'm gonna go.
It's got to deal with
Arc
the immediate
1,
threat.
New Kingdom. Arc 2, Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah.
And since Phoenix is a planned event this time, I feel like we can just anticipate it as a single boss mob encounter. Hopefully
the swarm raid boss.
Yeah, versus like it being the other worlders messing things up.
Right, exactly. Because this is a real-time threat for them, obviously. So this will be the normal, type of battle. Because you're right, because Kia was influencing the other one. But if it wasn't for him, this wouldn't be happening. Because this is in a response of the Spirit Tortoise passing away.
Right, and I don't remember if they showed on that last episode where we're at on the timeline, but I feel like
There's it's a clock, so it has to go in this cycle, and that's why Kyo did it, because he knew if he initiated the cycle,
I mean, like, just we started the season, we got a 3-month timer before Phoenix is back.
Yeah.
I forget where we ended the timer. I don't know if it shows us in episode 12 or not.
I don't think it did.
And you don't really get a good sense of time during this hero saving arc.
Right. All we know is that we have a few months before this thing pops
And it
up.
doesn't help that they're like fast traveling left and right. Any opportunity they can, they're like, poof, gone.
Well, once now, I don't blame him.
I don't either.
He's like, dude, when that was funny in season 2. He's like, in season 2, he was like, are you kidding? I couldn't. He was so mad. He's like, I've been traveling everywhere by foot. Like, Philo loves it.
I can just go back to any place I've been. Gold.
Philo was bummed out that he had that realization. She's like, oh, I remember that. Oh, also, last episode.
They never got her carriage back.
Yeah, they never did. I forgot about that. And remember when Galleon was showing off and trying to play with Naofumi, he took off with Naofumi on his back while flying, and then like Philo was like, final nail in the coffin for Philo because she misses flying.
Yeah, she was throwing a fit all at the start of the season. She's like, I miss flying, but my carriage, I'm so happy. And now she's got a rival and she can't fly and she's just a big chicken.
No carriage. They're going to have to buy a new one.
It's like in WoW, you have unlocked a flying mount. Well, I will never be on the ground again then.
Yeah, guilty. Sorry. It's just more convenient. But yeah, so that ends us on season 3. Sorry, I'm kind of expecting a movie after this. I hate to say that. I'm only saying that because I'm a nerd and marveled it out because I'm like, well, this is getting multiverse. I'm watching all the way to the end credits. And instead of giving us a number, they just struck off the number completely at the end. They're just like, yeah.
I'm cool with a movie as long as it's not we're gonna do a movie and then dissect the movie into a season format.
Well, for me,
give me like a side arc and let me come back in. Like Kay did their movie great.
Yeah, it was standalone, like I mentioned earlier. So when they're doing this movies, and I liked the Demon Slayer movie when I liked it, but when I got to analyze it after the fact, it's a double-edged sword. So movies are awesome, and it brings more attention to the anime, the product. Make revenue. So I get that it's a business, but at the same time, I know what they're doing. And the Mugen Train for Demon Slayer, what they essentially did is took a bunch of manga chapters and were like, let's condense this into one sitting instead of giving us another season. Trying to give us piecemealed it, and I get it's a marketing ploy, but at the same time, it just feels like a cop out in that sense because obviously we're not going to get everything because they're condensing it, and this season 2 of the Shield Hero kind of suffered that a little bit, but not exactly by the same means. Like it was a lot spoken word, and I can take that, but don't give me a movie and it's still like on track with what we are watching and you just condensed it down for us. Demon Slayer is guilty as hell doing that.
It needs to support the series, not just be an alternate interpretation of the same series.
Exactly. Like it can be, like I said, a DBZ was awesome for standalone movies. We had one for Brawley, we had one for Cooler, and so on and so forth. There were important characters in the series, but they had their standalone movies that weren't in line with what was going on in the series on the television.
Right.
So it was kind of like, oh yeah, this happened. Time skip. This happened in between this season and this movie, kind of.
Right, yeah, you kind of filled in the gaps between things. You're like, oh,
yeah,
here's
gave us
what's
another
going on
event. Give us another thing.
Yes.
Like I would take something outside of, for Shield Hero, and this is why I'm hoping I'm wrong, because I don't want a movie summarizing they fought the Phoenix.
See, I was actually going to fight you on that. I would be completely okay if they did a movie just doing the Phoenix fight, but when we come back for season 4, that's done and gone. We're moving forward.
Right. Okay.
Because with how cinematic the Spirit Tortoise was, if they had big screen budget
that's
for
what
it,
I'm saying.
especially with a flying monster, there's so much potential for...
That's what I'm saying. It's a marketing ploy, and it would be a smart move, and that's why I'm kind of seeing it.
Let's do it and move on. Not let's do it and then expand it.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I get where you're coming from. Like we can probably get
like
that
My
fight.
Hero wasn't that bad with their movies.
No.
It tied into the universe, but it wasn't like I'm gonna just rewatch this on Crunchyroll as 12 episodes in a while kind of deal.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that's fine. It's all about how they go. Just don't do the Demon Slayer thing.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we better call it a wrap, or we're going to keep going on this one for way too long.
Yeah.
This is Brotaku Retrospective. We are wrapping up Season 3 of The Rising of the Shield Hero.
What's next? We'll find out, I guess.
Stay tuned. I'm Eddie.
I'm Clint.
Later.
Latest.